Good Sunday morning, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos, live in the Digital Weather Center, bringing you the very latest on still Tropical Depression 9. Now, this storm is not going to be a memorable storm here for us in Central Florida, but it is one that will be kind of messing up the forecast a little bit if you have any outdoor plans, possibly later on today, but especially as we head into your Monday. If you were hoping to enjoy the beach today or the boat tomorrow, just do be aware conditions really along our coastline will be the most hazardous as we head throughout Sunday night and into Monday morning. All right, so let's go straight to the maps and show you what we're talking about here when it comes to Tropical Depression number 9. So not only are we watching Depression 9, but we are also watching Hurricane Umberto, which, by the way, is still packing sustainable winds, still a major hurricane, still just less than about 800 miles away from Tropical Depression number 9. So I'm actually going to put the little measuring tool here just to kind of show you the difference between from center to center. We're talking about only about 750 miles apart. So naturally, both of these two dueling storms, both creating somewhat of their own atmosphere, especially with Umberto, we are going to continue to see a little bit of an influence kind of back and forth from each one. So let's talk about the main tropical takeaways. What do you need to know as you're trying to make those plans? Maybe sitting at your breakfast table, having some breakfast this Sunday morning, whether or not to go out and run some errands. I think the weather forecast for today is going to be okay. We're going to see a little more cloud cover than usual. It's certainly already very muggy out there as that tropical air is starting to kind of work its way into Central Florida. But for today, we can't rule out the chance of a couple of those fast moving tropical downpours. You guys in Brevard County, you will be first experiencing the rain as is right now knocking on your door. Then as we head into the afternoon, the breeze will also pick up, but the real strong winds, or at least the strongest winds we'll see from Tropical Depression number 9, will arrive more late tonight and into early Monday, as we are going to be watching tropical storm wind gusts for the coastline, not so much along our inland zones, but certainly along our beaches with heavier rain around. When it's all said and done, we will be able to maybe rack up between 1 to almost 3 inches of rainfall when this system is all said and done. But the moral of the story here is this storm is not making landfall here. As of right now, it doesn't look like it might be making landfall at all. I'll show you that forecast cone in just a second. But we are looking at a more kind of improving conditions as we head into Tuesday. The storm will pull away. We'll start seeing some drier air working in on the kind of the backside of the system, although boating conditions still not ideal. This is a live tracker right now. We had two hurricane hunters going on at the same time. We have one that's running a little higher up in the atmosphere, and that overall looks at the overall synoptic pattern, not only around Tropical Depression 9, like you see there, but also looking at how the environment is being influenced by also, remember, we got major Hurricane Umberto just to the east. So you see that one little plane right now, that is one of the hurricane hunters that are now kind of in the lower levels. And what they do throughout the entire flight path for several hours, they drop these cylinders that are packed with GPS and all different types of weather instruments to really measure the overall vertical structure of these storms. And they do it many times, whether it's 50 to 150, depending on how much information they actually do need from the storm. So let's look first at Hurricane Umberto. That right now has sustained winds of 155 miles per hour. Again, this is not going to be the storm that we're actually focused on, but it will influence the weather a bit when it comes to what could eventually become Imelda later on today. But right now it's packing 155 miles per hour. Earlier this weekend, it actually topped off at Category 4 strength. So let's talk about, again, the big story for us locally here is Tropical Depression number 9. You can see that little D icon. That's where the National Hurricane Center is putting the center of the storm. Doesn't really look like a textbook tropical system just yet. It's still very elongated. There's tons of dry air on the western side of the storm. So if you notice right there over Florida, there's barely any cloud cover, at least kind of tropically, that all that dry air is starting to kind of erode away on that far western edge of the storm. That's why it's turned almost elongated at times. Now this system, you see all that moisture. I'm going to kind of show it to you here on our maps here. So you could see right now all this convection here down at the southern zone, that is an area that we're going to be watching for some of that convection to actually start spinning upwards into that center, which that center is right about there. So once we start seeing some of that deep convection wrapping around that center and it starts getting its symmetry going, that's where uh where I personally do see a better chance of this becoming Tropical Depression 9 to now Tropical Storm Imelda. So that is something that most likely will happen either at the 11 o'clock or possibly the 5 o'clock advisory. All right, this is the latest advisory as of the 8 a.m. intermediate. We are going to start getting those intermediate advisories because we do have tropical storm watches and warnings in effect. So you can see the latest track still showing. It's a little clustered there when it comes to our. It always likes to update itself on me. But we are going to continue to see. Let me try to clean this up a little bit so you can kind of see the overall track of the storm. So you can see by about Monday afternoon or so, it will start to approach more the northern Bahamas. And then we're going to start watching it start making that veer towards the east. As it kind of makes almost like a 90-degree turn back out into the open water. So you can see at its closest approach, and it's not super close, but where it's almost going to be running even to the Cape will be late Monday and into Tuesday morning, possibly as a tropical storm, maybe teetering on a Category 1 hurricane. As of right now, sustained winds of 35 miles per hour. This is not a big wind event, but it's certainly, as you saw with the satellite imagery, there's a lot of moisture associated with this. And because it is so sloppy and not very organized, the overall kind of swath of moisture extends a little more. If it was a very organized, tight storm, it would bring all that moisture towards the center. And it doesn't look like that's doing it just yet. It might eventually, but right now we are watching plenty of scattered showers stretching all the way even to us here in Central Florida. So let's kind of zoom in, give you an idea of what's going on right now on the radar. You can see as I zoom in here, there's some scattered showers approaching areas of southern Brevard County at this point in time. You can see that there is just a lot of rain and some thunderstorms out over the open waters. If they do hold, it's going to slowly start kind of rotating into our coastal communities, which our modeling has been kind of picking up the probability of that happening. I'm watching just one little cell here that made its way all the way through Canaveral Acres right now. Now, when it comes to the rain that we're going to see today and tomorrow, it's not just going to be that typical sea breeze interaction, dry and sunny in the morning, and then everything kind of starts booming in the afternoon. This is going to come in little waves. All of a sudden, you'll start to see the clouds start turning a little darker. The breeze starts kicking up, and then all of a sudden, it will be a big torrential downpour. And then that's it. Then you'll wait for the next one. And that's going to be kind of the setup today and tomorrow. So, is it enough to cancel any outdoor plans? If you have birthday parties or you're planning on going to the park or the theme parks today, it's not going to be a washout of event. Just do be aware that you might have to take a quick pause inside and kind of wait out some of those fast moving downpours. Right now, Flagler County in Palm Coast, Beverly Beach. Good morning to you guys who are also dealing with some of those heavier downpours up through Crescent City as well. Again, nothing severe, nothing too concerning at this point in time, but it's just the start of what will be a little bit more of a tropical kind of atmosphere in the forecast. Speaking of tropical, we do have tropical storm watches. Those are in effect, not for everyone, just for you guys along the immediate coastline. So that's coastal Brevard. That includes areas of Melbourne, in the Atlantic, Vieira, pretty much right along the Barrier Islands and just along the Indian River Lagoon, all the way up through the Cape, and then coastal areas of Volusia County from Ponce Inlet all the way up right to the border of Flagler County. At this point, you guys in Flagler are not under a tropical storm watch. That watch is included just for our marine zones there. But again, tropical storm watch doesn't mean that the conditions are happening right now. A watch normally means within the next 24 to 48 hours. It's just more of a preventative, kind of just precautionary. As you can see, this kind of wind span and the rain span exceeds quite a bit because it's not very organized. So this is just one of the many models that we watch. This is the American. And I show you this one because this is the closest model. This is one of the models that bring the system as close to the coast than others. And you can see it's still the center, still just offshore. But notice those reds and yellows, that's the overall wind field. So we certainly could start clocking some impressive wind gusts as we head into really tonight and into your Monday afternoon. So let's zoom in here. This is what we call our in-house wind gust model. This is kind of giving us an idea of how strong those wind gusts are. Again, these are gusts, not sustained. There's a very big difference when it comes to that. So this is Monday. As we move into like Monday afternoon, notice those wind gusts start clocking, especially along Brevard, upwards about 30 to 35-mile-per-hour gusts. Now, notice still the bulk of the strongest winds are still just offshore, but we're going to continue to see some of those gusts reaching our coastline. Further inland along the I-4 corridor, even further in across our western counties, Lake Mary and Sumter County, you might actually see wind gusts upwards about 20 to 25. So certainly will be a breezy kind of gusty day tomorrow. The hazards, though, remain along the coastline just because you can see how much more impressive the wind gusts will be as we head into Monday, and then conditions will start to improve on Tuesday. This graphic's a little messy. I know it's a lot of colors. It looks like the rainbow, just, drawn across the map here. But this is from a product from the National Hurricane Center, and it's the probability of tropical storm force winds in different locations. So you can see the guaranteed chance of tropical storm force winds are still out to sea. That's in the reds and the darker yellows and the oranges, okay? But as we inch our way a little closer to the coastline, I put some little icons there. You can see Palm Bay, about a 20% chance that we could start picking up those wind gusts at tropical storm status. That's about 35 miles per hour or stronger. But then notice the chances drop significantly further inland up and down the I-4 corridor. It's down to only about a 5%. So while it will be breezy, we'll get gusty, it's not tropical storm force gusts that we are anticipating. But with those winds and the swells from both Umberto and eventually Tropical Storm Imelda, we're talking about the biggest concern and the most life-threatening part of this forecast is going to be if you're going to be adventuring out into the waters, which is highly discouraged because look at the conditions, especially as we head into Monday and Tuesday. The beach surf, just for the surf along our coastline, 4 to 6 feet on Monday, and then that climbs up a little further on Tuesday. So even though on land the conditions are going to improve on Tuesday, the marine conditions will keep worsening at least until about day 2 or 3 of this event. Nearshore waters for boaters, not ideal. Even today, we're still talking about choppy seas this afternoon, 4 to 5 foot seas, but by Tuesday, we're going to almost double those seas, upwards about 10 to 12, because it's not just Imelda as a Cat 1 by that point, but it could be also Umberto that is still going to be possibly a major hurricane. So there's a lot of activity out there churning up the surf. So that certainly will be, again, this is the dangerous part. This graphic here is the worst part of the storm. And I'm not trying to belittle the storm because at the end of the day, we obviously have to keep ourselves on guard here when it comes to a storm just offshore. But at the end of the day, we're still talking about just gusty, at times a bit rainy. These are our current wind gusts. It's not here just yet, right? We're going to continue to see these conditions worsen. So if you have outdoor stuff you need to get done, if you're worried about maybe some of the Halloween decorations you have out that you maybe just put out within the last couple of weeks, and they're just a little bit flimsy, or you're kind of worried about them picking up and, blown away or something like that, that's kind of the preparations we're talking about here. This is not a big tropical storm prep situation for us here in Central Florida, thankfully, because, just a couple years ago, today we were dealing with Hurricane Ian. So different ice storm that we could potentially be dealing with, very, very different than Ian. This is their latest for Futurecast. This updated about an hour ago, and just looks like what we've been talking about, the possibility of a couple of those tropical downpours rolling through the area off and on throughout the day. Not a washout, but when you do get caught under some of these tropical downpours, they'll be pretty heavy. So let's roll through the clock here rather than just putting in an auto. I'm going to kind of take you here throughout the next few hours. So this is about the lunchtime hour. If you have some afternoon plans between 12, 2 o'clock, just again, a couple of those fast moving showers as far inland as about the I-4 corridor. Between about 2 and 4 o'clock, we will start to see a little more activity as, of course, the heating of the day will kind of amplify the chance for rain a little bit, starts building up some of those heavier downpours at times. That will linger till about 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, could stick around till about 7 across our inland zones. This is basically kind of sea breeze and tropical moisture put together. This is not squall lines. These aren't feeder bands. Although, again, they are packing tropical moisture like a feeder band, they're not going to be whipping the winds like a normal feeder band would. That's for today. Things could change, though, on Monday, as again, soon to be Imelda starts approaching its area a little further to us. This is overnight. Some scattered showers can't be ruled out. Then, as we head about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, again, a couple coastal showers will be possible about 7, 8 o'clock. Can't guarantee that everyone will be staying dry as you're heading to work and school tomorrow. But notice it's not a very big chance for rain. Just again, some of those rogue tropical downpours starting to kind of rotate ahead of, again, soon to be Imelda, because many models are still leaning towards it developing. Then throughout your Monday afternoon, again, couple of scattered showers. It will be noticeably cloudier and gustier. Those are the two that's pretty much a guarantee. Now, the rain is all going to be dependent on how much these overall kind of feeder bands hold together. But this is still about 7 o'clock in the evening on Monday. Again, besides the spotty showers here and there, that's about it. Then Tuesday morning, same story. Couple scattered showers making their way in as far inland as about the I-4 corridor. Now you see why I'm saying this is not going to be a big time rain event, although some models do pick up that under some of those downpours, although they look like little speckles right now on the modeling, could pick up between about 1 to 2 inches of rainfall when it's all said and done. So because of that, then the Storm Prediction Center has highlighted areas basically from I-4 east for excessive rainfall, just saying that there will be that potential, those big time downpours that bring that short term localized flooding to, ponding the roadways and whatnot. For your Monday, you can see that the chance shifts a little further towards the coast. I do think they're going to increase that coverage on Monday. As we look here at the rainfall, how much rain could we see? Actually, it looks like throughout the sea breeze in the afternoon, we could actually rack up almost about an inch or two of rain across our inland zones. The coastline, where you might see a little bit more of kind of a wetter day because of those fast moving showers, they won't sit on top. So that's certainly good news. So you could rack up between half of an inch to about 3/4 of an inch of rain. Now, in the meantime, as we are bringing in more clouds, bringing in the breeze a little bit, our highs today back into the upper 80s to low 90s. Our average high for this time of the year is 89. So we're going to be hovering around that. But with all that tropical air, that if you haven't gone outside just yet, you haven't walked the dog or whatnot, it's certainly air that you can wear. It's very sticky out there, certainly reminiscent of something tropical happening across the area. Rain chances for today, again, a little higher the further east you go. It's about a 60 to 80% chance, a little higher in Brevard County, as that's kind of where we're seeing the rain approaching you guys there in Brevard. Volusia County also looking at a heightened chance for some rain and some thunderstorms. But notice how low the rain chances are the further west you go. So Lake Marion and Sumter County, you got those fall festivals going. I do think that you might actually be able to kind of squeak out of the day a little bit on the drier side. I do want to show you the water vapor imagery here because this is something that is really kind of playing a role in the forecast. Oh, here it is. So as the system, again, eventually soon to be Imelda, slides northward and then starts to pull kind of that right turn, notice all the brown shading that's going to start entering in from the western side of the storm. That's some dry air. It's the same dry air that right now is in place over western central Florida. That's going to start kind of being sucked in, and that's why rain chances as we head into Tuesday, really Wednesday and Thursday of next week, we're really going to start drying things up. So, kind of just to recap real quick, what to expect. Tropical Depression number 9, our next advisory will be coming in about an hour or so. They usually send it out a little early unless they're waiting for some hurricane recon data because they're currently out there right now. But the latest update is at 11 o'clock this morning. As of now, Tropical Depression number 9, soon to be Imelda, bringing those tropical downpours off and on throughout the day. Not a washout, folks. And I don't want to hype up this storm more than we have to because it is our weekend. And I know a lot of people have some outdoor plans. I don't want you canceling them unless it's a beach or boating activity you have scheduled today or tomorrow, because again, that is where the dangerous part of the storm once again lies for beachgoers and boaters. Most likely, Volusia and Brevard County beach officials been saying they might start flying the double red flag. Maybe not so much today, but certainly Monday and Tuesday, as they might be closing off the beaches just due to the fact that it's just dangerous even to have lifeguards out there patrolling and rescuing folks who want to venture out because we know there's a lot of surfers out there who are ready and amped for waves like this. Tropical storm Gus, that will really start moving in later on this evening into Monday. The tropical storm force Gus really focused right along the immediate coastline, hence why you guys, once again, are under a tropical storm watch until further notice. So, again, tropical depression number 9, it is an area we are going to be watching pretty closely. As of now, areas of St. Augustine and just north of Flagler County, really the only area currently seeing any real widespread rain, just right now, right around Canaveral Acres, moving into far eastern Orange County right now. That's the one cell we're watching, but there is still plenty to track over the next couple of hours. I will, of course, be here throughout the morning hours, and meteorologist Michelle Morgan is going to tap in and watch it all the updates, and of course bringing you the very latest right here on clickorlando.com, News 6 Plus, our News 6 weather app. Wherever you get your information, we will be supplying it for you as we continue to get the very latest, again, from Tropical Depression 9, soon to be Hurricane Imelda in the next couple of days. We'll see you then.